Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. I want to shout out XX25 and Brian Shadow Strike, as always, for keeping me updated on the forums, especially when I am on vacation and would never, ever be on the forums. So if you don't send me a link about a video you want me to cover, I don't know if I'm ever going to make it because I don't know what's going on. So yeah, it's sort of like having sources in the field of journalism that bring you story ideas, and you think, gosh, I had no idea that was even going on. Thank you, community member. So this is a banquet/gladiator forum post, and it is a bizarre forum post. It's disappointing how much MCOC players we have on the content creator program, and things still turn out this bad. For all the owners who care, I'm going to have to insert words into this because it feels like some things are missing. It's probably just a business. A whole lot of them do not play the game at all, which, again, I don't know. Kabam Jax has talked about this on the live streams, and some people hate this company so much that they get mad at me anytime I defend them. But I don't care. Truth is truth. Kabam has shown over and over again that, I'm not going to say all the people who play that game because that's probably wrong, but at least, can we say a majority of the people, certainly a good chunk of the people who work for them, play the game themselves. And so when they say that a whole lot of them do not play the game at all, where's the evidence in this claim? And it's also not true that they hack their own game and manipulate the game to get better luck in crystals. Kabam Jax has shown us his skills in his account, and he is so average at the game, he won't even stream it on his own Twitch channel because he doesn't want to embarrass himself. And as somebody who's embarrassed himself more than a few fair share of times playing the game on his YouTube channel, I understand. It's why I, in 2023, have put out more content in terms of gameplay, but have felt less happy with it because it's just, you become a target for people who laugh at you. And I know you're supposed to have a thick skin when you're a public official and when you're a content creator and not care what the haters think, but it's still not fun. It's not fun to think, I did my best. I know I'm not the best. You don't have to remind me of that. So I don't know where that point is even made. I don't understand. He says, I don't know what the game team in general were thinking dropping a deuce on an event. I don't know what the champion designer was dropping that extremely vomit on a champion of Summoner's Choice. So there's like a whole bunch of different points trying to be made at once here. This isn't even an exaggeration. Gladiator is definitely one of the worst champions of the game. Now, again, Kabam has not denied that Gladiator is terrible. That's why he's getting a buff. Now, if they'd come out and said, Gladiator is meeting all of our metrics and all their, like, fun language, then, yeah, we could say, are you playing the same game that we are? But no, they came out and said, we don't think Gladiator is that good. But Kabam Broccoli, when I interviewed him a year ago now, it's crazy to think it's already been a year, said, we know for a fact that it's easier for us to make a champion that's underwhelming and buff them than it is to make another Hercules that everybody starts clearing too much content with and it costs us too much money and we have to nerf them. So Kabam is going to make a lot of mid champs now that look cool, have awesome animations and some decent utility, but they're going to literally keep it harder to clear as much content with champs like Kitty Pryde and Hercules than before. And yes, I speak about Kitty Pryde and Hercules specifically because KT1 asked another member of the Kabam team if they would have been nerfed in the rebalancing efforts, if the rebalancing efforts existed when those champions came out, and the answer would have been yes. So, of course, that is leading to this discussion. Now, I think the last couple lines of this are really unfair, and part of why I'm making this video is to say, look, you can disagree with someone and not be a jerk. Do the top level players who work for Kabam really care? Yes, I think so. Because guess what? If Kabam's paying them, they also want the game to be around. You can't keep getting paid by Kabam or supported by Kabam if the game doesn't exist. I don't think that's an arguable point. They seem to be very quiet on the issue generally. Again, I don't know what this means. Are they just puppets? Well, puppets can literally string you along. But I don't think that's going on in this case. And so when you look at the responses of this forum post, such as from Apocalypse189, who says, well, you don't have to participate in the event, but it is a majority free event, which we can get some lucrative rewards. I'm sorry if it doesn't meet your standards. I mean, again, could be a nastier response. I think it's a fair response. Enjoy your warning from My Nuts. That's quite the name, too. CCP aren't Kabam workers. Not every event will be the best ever, and neither can every champ. We had 24 new champs this year, and only one turned out kind of bad. You'll be fine. And then Kabam Mike comes in to put out some fresh perspective. First up, the CCP are not making decisions about the future of the game. They are not the game designers, and they do not decide what we do and do not do. Again, this is pointing to all of the false information in this forum post. But they could have just deleted it, but they wanted to put out the correct information, which I think is really responsible and growth. And I know that I'm criticizing Kabam Mike quite a bit because he does sound like a passive-aggressive ex-partner a lot of times. But in this case, I got to defend him. He's putting out information to clear up all of the misinformation in the post, and I think that's the best way to handle this situation. They give feedback all the time, and it's usually very good. That does not mean that we have to agree with it or action on it. Our game team is the ultimate decision maker on what it is or is not added to the game. Player feedback is great, and it can help shape the future of the product, but if I took on all of the player feedback without balancing it against data, intentions, and the future of the game, we'd have died out at year 4. And honestly, that's kind of what I expected the game to do. So the fact that we're still here talking about it is pretty amazing. Secondly, just because something is not to your standards doesn't mean you are right and that we are wrong. If you don't like the banquet event, don't take part. Use those units that you would have spent and go finish Necropolis, which is and should be the better option. Wow. Well, I guess if you want to become Valiant, yes, it is a better option to spend your units on revives and explore Necropolis because you're guaranteeing yourself a second rank 3 7-star, whereas the rank 3 7-star materials, specifically tier 4 Alpha Catalyst fragments, look to be very difficult to get and certainly not plentiful even in reward milestones, which is understandably why so many Paragon players are ticked because they don't have nearly as much motivation to spend as much money this year on a banquet event, which is a different feel when you just came out with a new progression title than if you waited till the previous new progression title, which was before July 4th rewards in the spring of 2021? So I have all this weird, useful information that maybe isn't even that useful in my head, and sometimes it just comes out and I think, man, I know too much about this community, and I've probably forgotten 98% of what I thought I learned in graduate school. Listen, here I'm thankful for this post, and that he posted it before he closed the discussion. I have never seen more misinformation in a post than I did coming from Genie for PF. And I'm sure he is trying to fight on behalf of a segment of the player base that believes this stuff, but just because you believe it doesn't mean it's true. And yes, this is still a free will game. I also think shouting out Karate Mike and Legacy and Seaton like this is not fair shade against those content creators. And I'm not saying I agree with them all the time because that would be strange if I did, but I also don't think they're just all of a sudden paid shrills for Kabam that are afraid to speak up. Like, nothing about what they've done on their own channels has supported that theory. And so if you're going to attack somebody without evidence, and certainly just talking about feelings over facts, I'm going to defend the facts. That is the power I get on this channel. So I have never seen more misinformation on a post, and I'm thankful Kabam Mike took the time to correct it before closing it. This is one of those things that I think generally most people can actually agree on, and that's rare in a gaming community, and especially this community. So cheers to agreement more than disagreement on some things, and in this case on this. So Genie, for PF, it probably wasn't your intention, but hey, congrats on bringing the community together against a misinformed post.